What's the latest with Jon Jones?
Ooh. I don't know, man. I don't think they've reached any sort of conclusion. I don't know if they have some sort of an excuse. I don't know when the trial is. I think it's got to be sometime coming up soon, but it hasn't been in the news. See if you can find out when the trial is. It's going to be interesting. See what they say or what they think it could be. Did I tell you the craziest rumor about it? Talked about it on the podcast before. The craziest rumor was, everybody knows John likes to party. I'm not throwing him under the bus. I mean, he's even joked around. He said to DC, when DC was talking shit, he's like, I beat you after I did cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, which was fucking hilarious. But the craziest rumor was that they cut creatine with cocaine. It's one of the things they cut cocaine with, and that they used some cheap Chinese creatine that was steroid tainted, which is apparently very common. Apparently, there's a lot of creatines and different things you take. They have trace amounts of steroids that'll show up in a test because the same vats that they make that shit in, they make steroids in, they make everything in. They're making them in China at these really shitty bulk places, and you'll occasionally get tainted supplements. Happens all the time.
Maybe they were purposely tainted.
That could happen too. We talked about that.
The greatest creatine ever. Like, dude, this shit yokes me out.
Yeah, right? Yeah, probably.
Maybe that's just the way to sell steroids. You just sell creatine, but
what's interesting, it says California State Athletic Commission, right? Because it was in California. So who gets to decide? California gets to decide? Is that how it works? Because it's the California State Athletic Commission, so they apparently get to decide what happens in his future.
Arbitration with USADA, it says.
Oh, USADA. If found guilty this time, he faces up to a 4-year ban. Holy shit.
What's the minimum, though?
I don't know. I mean, it really depends on whether or not he's got an actual excuse. If he could get that fucking dealer to get him some coke and it's got the steroids in it. I bet you never. The problem is you would only have a decent excuse. You wouldn't be exonerated. There would still be some sort of a penalty.
Wait a minute. Did you say they're cutting in China? They're cutting creatine with coke or with steroids?
They're using creatine to cut cocaine. So if you buy cocaine, say if you got a kilo of cocaine, you want to stretch that shit out, make it a kilo and a quarter. Oh, I got the thing, bro. Super fucking muscle dick creatine. And super muscle dick creatine has some steroids in it. And so when they're cutting this cocaine with this creatine that has steroids in it, he's snorting the coke. This is he, not meaning Jon Jones, a person. I'm making this up, right? I don't know what the fuck happened. No. This is the rumor.
This could be true.
The rumor is that this has been shown to test positive.
That he did coke and it had creatine in it, and the creatine had steroids in it.
The rumor is that is what people think could be a possibility. Because if John likes to party, and we know John likes to party, it is entirely possible that he might have partied and that he might have just had a little bit of that. And in that was this creatine. Because, like, if you think about it, they're cutting with all kinds of different stuff, right? They cut it with, I mean, I'm not a cocaine doctor, but I got to imagine they take some white shit that looks like coke and you can make more coke, right? That's what the cutting is, right?
Yeah. But to cut it with creatine.
Apparently it's common. We looked it up. We actually Googled it. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that he was taking creatine and it was tainted with steroids. That's what I thought.
No, but see, that would be better for him. If that was the case, that would be good. Because that way you could take that creatine to USADA and you'd have to have it on a list of shit you were taking. You say, look, it just says it's creatine. That's all I took. And they tested. They're like, oh, shit, this does have steroids in it. And then they'll go and find another one that's like from the same vat. They can find like the VAT numbers, I guess. They'll find one independently, hopefully from a store. And if they test that, if they find a trace amount of steroids in that, and that's what got Dirty Bird, Tim Means, he got off for that. That's how he got off. He didn't take any steroids, just took some fucking over-the-counter normal supplement that wasn't supposed to have steroids in it. And then he tested positive. He was stunned. And if you look at Tim, he even lifts weights. He doesn't remotely look like a guy who uses steroids. And they tested the stuff that they found just randomly in the store, and that tested positive. So he only got a short amount of a suspension. Yeah, he was pretty quick, like 6 months or something like that. But even then, if you didn't do anything wrong, why would you get 6 months?
And so you're saying that the steroids are in creatine on accident, not like they're not doing it on purpose, right?
No. Well, here's the thing. This is just speculation, right? I'm hearing a rumor, right? But the speculation is that these labs where they make creatine, They also make a gang of other things, right? They'll cook up some steroids for you, whatever the fuck the order is, right? And they're not cleaning those vats out right. So if they're just pouring another bag, if they pour out the steroids and they pour a bag of creatine in there for the next batch and they're mixing everything up, it's entirely possible that trace amounts of those steroids are getting into that stuff. When we first started doing Alpha Brain, we had some of the early versions tested, and when we got the stuff mixed from a place, the place didn't do a very good job of cleaning out their equipment. We had vitamins in our Alpha Brain that weren't in there. We had some stuff that's not supposed to be in there. So when we tested and we found trace amounts, we had to switch what we were doing. We had to change how we have the things manufactured. That's a super common thing when you're dealing with these overseas laboratories that are making all your shit together. So that's one possibility. Another possibility that I've said before that a lot of people say I'm fucking crazy, somebody could have given him something. Somebody could have given him something to fuck with him. Somebody could have not liked him. Somebody could have done that too. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying you have to take into consideration all the possibilities. If John is telling the truth and he's totally stunned by this, there's a lot of different possibilities. And one of them could easily be somebody giving it to him. It also could be that he took steroids. That's possible too. I don't know.
If you owned a creatine company, you'd kind of want your creatine to be. Can you? You guys are making steroids there too, right? Okay, cool. Can we use the same vats?
Mix that shit up, kid.
And then you could always just say, hey, you know what? I didn't know that.
It's true. Yeah, you know, they do that with those dick pills, apparently. Those gas station dick pills, they have like generic Viagra in them. That's why they work so well.
Move. Oh, yeah. No, they just use the same vats. Your Honor, we didn't know that they use the same vats.
Yeah, they do that, and they also put steroids in those things too. Do you know Brian Redband was the first one to call that Jon Jones had taken dick pills, and that's why he tested positive? Redband put it together in his head because he does coke. He's like, look, you do coke, your dick doesn't work. Your dick doesn't work, you take those gas station dick pills. He probably took one of those pills. He goes, I take those pills and feel like a fucking animal. He's like, I feel like I've got steroids in me. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, you get real aggressive. Your dick is hard as a fucking piece of metal. I'm like, okay, all right. Turned out he was right. That's crazy. And it was the same thing with Anderson Silva. When Anderson Silva tested positive, it was from some sort of Chinese dick pill stuff. And they found it and they tested it.
Redband does coke.
He's done it. He doesn't do it all the time, but he's done it. So he knows what it's like to party. And that's what he was saying. He's like, I know what it's like if you're partying. He's like, your dick doesn't work. He's like, he parties, right? Yeah. Well, he probably did because he tested positive for coke. He's like, he probably does that. Redband totally nailed it.
Or maybe he was doing ecstasy. People take Viagra on ecstasy, you know?
Yeah, could be that too.
It's happened.
Yeah, look, he's a wild motherfucker and he likes to party. The question is, did he actually take a steroid with the intention to cheat? That's what we don't know. He says he didn't. I wish there was a way that you 100% could tell if someone was lying. 100%.
You watch that Black Mirror episode where everything's being videotaped with their contact lenses?
Yes.
So they're just like reviewing everything they've said?
Yeah, that freaked me out. That's coming. If we don't have artificial intelligence that takes over the world before then, that's coming. That you're going to be able to record. You're going to have some fucking chip that you put in the back of your head. And it's going to store all the stuff directly from your nervous system. You're going to be able to review it in HD. Dude, the moment they can give you eyes that work better than your eyes. I mean, you have an artificial disc, right? Think of that. I saw a dude who got attacked by a shark, and he had no arm and no leg. But here he was with a carbon fiber arm and a carbon fiber leg, and he's walking around. If you didn't know, you would never know. Like from the knee down, he was missing his leg. And from the middle of his like bicep area, he had a fake arm.
He should do MMA, just knock the fuck out of people. He'd probably kill people, just punch holes right through their chest.
You could leg lock them.
Would that be
all
legal?
Day.
Would the California Athletic Commission let someone fight with a cyborg arm?
No.